What's going on, guys? I'm Tommy, and I'm coming at you with an action figure review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Hasbro The Black Series Chewbacca from Episode 4, A New Hope. Can you really have a Star Wars display without a good Chewbacca on the shelf? As far as my Black Series collection goes, there are plenty of places for me to stick a Chewbacca. Original trilogy, prequels, Clone Wars, even sequel trilogy stuff you could put a Chewbacca in and he would fit right in. As for me, I'm going to put this Chewbacca with my Star Wars Battlefront display. I got this figure on a pre-order through Big Bad Toy Store, the place I go to for most of my action figure orders and pre-orders. They're a great service here in the United States, a great smaller retailer, and I like giving them my support. I've been sitting on this one for a couple months now, and this one was actually chosen by the ARC Troopers of the Blitz Transmissions Patreon and the Rancor Battalion channel members here on YouTube as being one of the next items for me to review. This figure was a mainline release here in 2025, and he comes in the standard style of packaging for the Black Series this year. You have your Black Series logo up at the top, a nice big plastic window showing you the figure and his accessories there. Over here we have the character's name in vertical text, as well as that he is number 11 in the A New Hope subline. Down below the window we have that bright orange banner, which is the color for the A New Hope subline, with the movie's name right there, as well as some logos down at the bottom. On this side we have our mural packaging. This is Chewie here in the back. You can see the canopy of the Millennium Falcon and Han Solo's folded arms next to him. Character name down at the bottom. On the back of the box we have a lot of the same information we've seen on the other side of the box. Black Series logo, that same mural image we saw on the side of the box blown up a bit. You have the name of the character and a bio in about 1,000 different languages. This bio reads, Chewbacca is a legendary Wookiee warrior with a big heart, known for his short temper, accuracy with the bowcaster, and unwavering loyalty to his friends. We reiterate down here, he is number 11 for the A New Hope subline. All your legalese down at the bottom, guys, please don't feed this action figure to your babies. On this side of the box, we have the wraparound window, you have the banner here and the Black Series logo. On the bottom of the box, even more legalese, and on the top, nothing. That about wraps it up for the packaging on this guy, so why don't we get him opened and we'll check him out. Alright, here is Chewbacca out of the box. Before we take a look at the figure, let's take a look at his accessories. Technically, these two accessories make one item, Chewie's iconic bowcaster. So there is some assembly required. Looking at the pieces separately though, this is the main body of the bowcaster. You can see it's done in a nice, almost gunmetal color sculpt. Got a lot of nice sculpted detail, no wash or paint applications whatsoever, but we've come to expect that in the Black Series these days. The strap is painted, however, and it does have a nice, very malleable, durable plastic here, so you can really move this thing around and get it to lay nicely when it's slung over his shoulder. Looks like they've gotten all the detail right here with all the different machinery and bits of the blaster here. I don't really have any complaints when it comes to this one. And then of course we have the front end of the blaster with the little spheres on either side here. There is a specific way to attach this here. You'll see there's a little indent toward the center of the, I guess the front of the bowcaster, and there's an indent towards the front near the tip of the barrel of the blaster. That connects very nicely, and as you can see, it's not warped, it doesn't look too bad, and it passes the shake test. So once this is together, it will stay together. You might notice though that it might come undone if you flip-flop it one way, or maybe you knock it one way, so just be wary of that, but otherwise it's a good look for this blaster. And here we have Chewbacca. So this is a brand new head-to-toe Chewbacca. I'm really excited. We finally have a new Chewbacca in the Black Series here. So I want to take a first look at the likeness. So the likeness is actually really nice on this guy. He's got eyes. You can actually see the blue in his eyes as well. He's got nice paint for the teeth, the tongue, and the lips on the mouth here. You can even see his kind of Wookiee mustache is painted a slightly different color than the rest of the hair on the head, and there is that nose painted too. A very nice job. This looks exactly like Chewbacca, and definitely one of the better Wookiee likenesses in the line. As far as the back of the head goes, you can see the hair gets a little bit darker all throughout this figure. They did a really good job of sculpting all that shaggy hair that Chewbacca has, really giving it depth and texture throughout the sculpt. Chewbacca's head and hair that hangs down from his head is one separate piece here, and that is separate from the bandolier, and I guess I'll just show that off. The bandolier is just done in some some brown plastic. No painted detail here at the actual satchel itself, but all of these metal pieces are painted in silver. You can see the facets in there are painted too, and that's actually pretty surprising. I wasn't expecting the facets to be painted, but it's welcome. It is again, that more malleable, durable plastic there, and it is glued to the middle of his back, but the rest of it is just kind of loosely attached. So you'll have a nice way for the hair on the head to sit over the satchel, the bandolier, and it doesn't look stupid. Other than that, he's just got his basic striping that you have going on here. So from the chest to the shoulders, you have that darker color. Then we return to that lighter color in the sculpt down here from the middle of the torso down to the crotch area. The hands, you will see, do have a little bit of paint. They do have sculpted hair that drapes down, and the paint is gray for his skin tone, I would take it, more like his paws. There's also the sculpted hair around the fronts of the forearms where they meet the hand. The ends of the hair are very malleable with the soft plastic, so you shouldn't have an issue moving the hands at all. We'll find out, I'm sure. But underneath all these overlays, which again, you'll see it's kind of like cut a little bit in the middle here so that you can kind of move the legs around, hopefully. We'll cover that in the articulation. But yeah, then you go back down to his legs, you return to that darker brown color, and then about midway through the shin down to the toes, you have that lighter brown again. And then of course you can see he does have the feet painted in gray, just like the hands are painted in gray. So overall, I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about with the look of this character, other than the fact that he looks very accurate to the movie. So let's take a look at Chewbacca's articulation. So the thing that has me excited about this figure is not just the looks, but hopefully the articulation will be a vast improvement over previous versions of Chewbacca. It is very difficult to get the older Chewie, the existing one in the Black Series, into a two-handed blaster holding stance, let alone some more dynamic and action-packed poses. So let's start up here at the head. This is a big one. So obviously with the hair that drapes down the front and back of that sculpt, you would expect that this wouldn't get a ton of range. However, they seem to have gone with a longer barbell joint. You can't really see it on camera, but I can see it with the human eye. There's a barbell. The top of the joint goes up here into the head, and the bottom goes down into the top of the torso. That's going to get you all kinds of range here. So Chewie can actually look down. You can make that reach forward a little bit so he can look down. That's good, especially because of how tall he is. We want him to be able to look down at other characters that may be talking to him. He can also look up a decent amount as well, which is good. However, the sculpting of the front of that hair is going to stick out just a little bit. And then of course you do have some nice tilt back and forth, and you can see again the bandolier kind of helps to move itself right out of the way so you don't have to be so hindered by it. And of course you have some right and some left. It's really nice to see how much this plastic just moves itself out of the way with great ease so that you can get more dynamic looking with this figure. Now it appears that the upper torso area seems to be a soft plastic overlay, and there is a butterfly joint hidden underneath there. So you're going to be able to move that forward and back. You can kind of hear it squeaking. Not a ton of range, not the greatest range on a butterfly joint in the Black Series, but having it there at all does help. You do also have a hinge and swivel at the shoulders, so you can get to 90 degrees with that hinge, which is good. And you can, of course, get full 360 degrees of swivel there. Deep cut single jointed elbows, those are going to get you well past that 90-degree mark. That is really impressive, the bend at those elbows there with that swivel at the top of the elbow. And once again, we see that soft plastic for the end of the upper arm there that meets at the elbow. So you're not only hiding the joints, but you're also not hindering articulation while doing so. It would appear to me that Chewie has some roly-poly wrists, aka the ball-jointed wrists. These ball-jointed wrists are really nice because they stop the figure from having to be, hindered by a single direction hinge there, and you can get a little bit more direction in every single way. So I actually prefer the roly-poly wrists over the hinge and swivel. You do have a ball joint at the midsection, which is cleverly hidden underneath the soft plastic overlay of the upper torso, and you can see you can get some decent range out of that, which is good. And then we have ball joints at the hips, and this is where you can really see the soft plastic overlay pieces really move themselves out of the way. You can get plenty of range with this ball joint at the hips here. He does not have a cut for a thigh swivel. This is a newer Black Series figure where they opt for the modified hip joint so you can get that in and out motion. This might be the best I think I've ever seen. I mean, look at from straight, look how far out you can bring that thigh. That is actually really good. And again, I've been saying this recently, as Hasbro does more figures on this new articulation scheme, time, they seem to be getting more comfortable with it, and exactly what I've been looking for, which is carving out more of the inside of that thigh to really maximize the movement you want to get out of this. And then of course we have deep cut single jointed knees here, so those are going to get you well past that 90-degree mark, which again is great. Again, you can see that plastic which hangs down to the knee there, and then it does have a swivel at the top of the knee, which is good. And then at the ankles, of course, we do have the forward facing pin for rocker, which actually this I thought was going to be hindered by the plastic that's hanging down for sure, but it's again that softer, more rubbery feeling plastic that just moves itself out of the way very nicely. He also has a hinge at the foot here. That hinge is going to get you some nice forward as well as some nice back. So overall, this is a massive, massive upgrade, both in looks and in articulation. I'm really impressed with this Chewbacca. So taking a look at the bowcaster here, you can of course get this hung over his shoulder. Chewie usually holds this over just one shoulder, and you can get the strap into his hand pretty nicely, and with the strap in hand you can kind of get the illusion that he's holding the weapon over his shoulder. This looks pretty good, and I think it's a decent pose for the figure if you want him just in more of an idle looking pose. However, we do of course want to see how the bowcaster fits into the hand, so thankfully the fingers on the figure are very soft and malleable, so we will be able to get a nice grip on the blaster with no problem. I am finding that this front of the bowcaster can get a little frustrating because it just falls off so easily when you bump it, so it might be better off for you to pose the figure with the main body of the blaster in hand first, and then attach the rest of the blaster to the front. And here's Chewbacca in a little bit of a lower stance, like he's getting ready to charge some stormtroopers or just get rid of some baddies from the cantina. Another thing we definitely want to see is really the tried and true improvement on this guy would definitely be getting him into a two-handed bowcaster pose. This can prove to be a little tricky because while the fingers are malleable, it does make it a little frustrating though, because the blaster can fall out of the hand so easily. However, here is a really nice pose here. We've got Chewbacca kind of hip firing that bowcaster. This is a great pose, something you really can't achieve with previous Chewbacca figures in the Black Series. This looks awesome. Crazy that you can achieve a kneeling pose with a Chewbacca figure. That is something I never would have expected in the Black Series, and this figure just does it so well. I love this newer, very malleable plastic that Hasbro is using for some of these pieces. Really makes it a lot more fun to pose these figures and really makes them feel a lot less stiff. And just for some quick comparisons, this is great here. You want Chewbacca to be this big, tall, imposing character, and he does just that. Over on the left here, we have the most recent Luke Skywalker farm boy look for the Black Series, and you can see he looks great. Very good height difference here. Next to him, I have the latest Black Series Han Solo figure. This figure looks really nice, and even in a lower stance, you can still see the massive height difference between the two figures. Very great to see that. Over on Chewbacca's right, we have the latest Princess Leia Organa in her iconic white dress from the first film, and you can see again, great height difference here. This is exactly what we want to be seeing. And then on the very far right here, we have the Imperial Stormtrooper. This one was marketed as an A New Hope release in a 2-pack with a Rebel Fleet Trooper, and seeing all of these figures together really paints a nice picture from that original movie with the latest and greatest tech for looks and articulation from the Black Series. I do have reviews of all the rest of the figures you see on screen right now out on the channel. Alrighty, and for one final comparison here on the left here, I have, this is the Archive Collection Chewbacca, which is just a repaint of the previous Chewbacca body, and you may be wondering, why is the new one shorter? Fun fact, the old one was actually a little bit oversized for the 6-inch scale, so the new Chewbacca corrects that. I think the colors are much more accurate to what we see in A New Hope. I think all around this figure is a vast improvement over the old one, especially considering it's so much easier to get this one into a two-handed bowcaster stance, whereas it's barely even achievable with the old Chewie. But with that, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this review. This is definitely a figure worth picking up for your collection. Easily the definitive Chewbacca for the Black Series, and arguably I think this is the best 6-inch scale Chewbacca as well. Absolutely worth a pickup if you're a Chewie fan, or if you want him in his look from any of the respective media he's from. But with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did and you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Blitz Transmissions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. If you're an ARC Trooper in my Patreon, you would have seen this review early. If you'd like access to early content, monthly giveaways, and other awesome benefits, the link to my Patreon is in the description below. Become an ARC Trooper for just $4.99 a month. If you're a fan of the reviews I do here on YouTube, or you just want to support the YouTube channel more directly, you could also check out my YouTube channel membership, Rancor Battalion, for just 99 cents a month. You get access to exclusive badges and priority replies in my comment section. You of course get to check out all the reviews early here on YouTube, and you get to vote on what I review next for the channel, just like the Patreon members do. If you'd like some Blitz Transmissions swag, you could head over to the Blitz Transmissions Armory over on Printify. That link is in the description below, as well as links to my Discord and all my social media. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll catch you for the next one, and may the Force be with you.
Breaking off. All units, fire at will. 1-2, pick a target. Too many, Captain. Watch your stabilizer, Gold 6. Anybody cover me. I got 2 vultures on my tail. Gotta hold them here. Watch your left. I can't shake them. I'm hit. Where's our reinforcement?